Do this shit until they murder me.
What's going on, everybody? Yay! I did some things. Excuse me, Phoenix. Ah, yes. Let's follow up on a few things and answer some questions. So as you can see, I got both of the cars, the 91NA and the KSwap out. And I'm going to show you guys what I did with the alternator. Dun, da, 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 dun. So let me show y'all the finished product. Blammo! Yeah. See that there? So I got it all fixed up, and so it's using about 12 gauge, 14 gauge steel at the moment. Let me get into the shade. It's hot. Yeah, it's using a 14 gauge steel with grade 10.9 hardware, and as you can see, that Heim joint there, it's working. I had to go through about 6 revisions of that whole thing in order to get it to work properly. I had to get the angle right. I wanted to make sure that the Heim joint, or that tensioner, wasn't at an extreme angle, or at an angle that, you know, once you put tension on it, it's gonna bend, because, you know, there's a lot of vibrations going through the car, and I don't want to prematurely break anything. So it's finally at a spot where I can call it good. As you can see in the from what I just showed you guys here, there's a nut, the way it's bolted onto that plate. There's a nut. I welded a nut on both sides so that I can put a large, first of all, the nut, I could say the diameter of the Heim is like 3/8, and my bolts are not exactly that, so there was a little bit of slack, so I put a little bit of, like, a really thin bearing. It was really hard to get that, a really thin bearing, like metal bearing around that. It's super thin, just to pick up that slack, which it did. But it's running great now. It actually solved a little bit of my voltage issue. It's no longer in the it was in the 11s, maybe in the 12s, no longer, and now it's in the 13s, high 12s. If I start the car now, it's like at 13.1, 13, and then it kind of trickles down. So that's finally done. I did have a ton, and I mean a ton, of footage on it, and it didn't record or didn't save. That really pissed me off, actually, because I had like maybe 15 minutes of explaining and welding and cutting and an adventure, and none of that. I don't know what happened to it. I searched my phone, searched my other camera, and nothing happened. So I got to make do with this one. So covered that. Now the car's running fine. I dealt with another voltage issue over here at the battery. I use a thicker plate in order to use my dropout. So like when I'm connecting the gauges or anything like that, it's using thicker gauge steel. I was using 16 gauge, now it's 12 gauge. So just thicker stuff. So I wanted to cover just one or two things that I got a few comments on. One was about the 91NA. And that was what if I was going to do a full K-swap or cannibal. And I'm going to be doing a full K-swap on this car because I want to do a Honda drivetrain. I want to try to get a 5-speed. I'm going to try to get a 6-speed. If it's going to be too expensive, I'll just go with a 5-speed. But again, the car is not going to see a lot of power, so I don't see myself going further than that. Another thing is the car is a sunroof model, so people were asking me if it was better. People who didn't know the MR2. Which one's better, because I have a T-top, I have 2 T-tops, and I have a sunroof, or moonroof, however you say it. It is really up to you, whatever you like. I like having the T-tops. I like being able to take them off. It is what it is. I mean, a lot of people love the hard top because it's a hard top and it's stiffer, whatever. It's all up to you. It's whatever you prefer. If you want to get a T-top, get a T-top. It's all up to you. So another thing I was, let me cover. So I was also asked about, since I'm a bigger guy, there another subscriber was asking me, since he's a very tall, bigger guy, what kind of seats am I going with? I don't know, but I need to get something that does handle a bigger frame better. So at this point, I don't know what I'm going to be going with, but I know the stock stuff is going in the trash. I will follow up with that. So as soon as I have a model of some sort of seat that is actually a little bit wider than the norm. It's not even the seat itself. For those of you that are a little bigger, or just taller in general, or taller in general actually would work. It's not that I'm like a 42 inch waist, but my shoulders I'm so wide in the shoulders that a lot of those racing seats get narrower towards the top, or the ones that get broader only get broader to a certain point, and then they have these little kickouts, and my shoulders hit that, and it kind of drives me forward like that, and that's uncomfortable. So until I can figure something out, or I can try, there's not a place around here that I can just go sit in a ton of seats and see what I like. So when I figure that out, I forget your name, I will let you know. What else was I asked about? Oh yes, what I was doing with my buddy's car. So I was asked if that was a full KSwap, if that was a cannibal. It is a cannibal. Again, went over this before. He's using the Toyota E153 turbo transmission just like I did. So that is going to be I'm going to be covering that in detail. Bolting it up to the motor, shaving the motor, because you do have to shave the block in two areas. One for the slave cylinder and the other for the axle on the rear end. So I will be covering that. The wiring, of course, it's all going to be done by Hux. I'm not doing any of that myself. I will clean it up a little bit here and there, depending on how my buddy wants it. But again, that's a cannibal. That's a full swap. Mine is a cannibal. The other car that I have coming, that one's going to be a cannibal as well. And that one's going to be a little special. So that one's not going to have the same treatment that these cars are having. So this NA is going to have like a gutted interior. It's going to literally just be, I'm going to purposely build this thing to like just autocross and road race, just to beat the crap out of it. Should be a lot of fun, but let's see. I can't remember what else somebody asked me here, but hold on let me go reach in the bag. All right, so I remembered, now that I reached into my bag of emails here, somebody asked me about my intake temperatures recently. Now that it's 105, 110 degrees out in Nevada, what they were. And I mean, they're not the greatest right now. They're ambient. Or a little bit better than ambient. So I'm even though it is air to water, this stuff does get hot. Even though this is cool to the touch actually. This side right here that sees the exhaust is a little heated, but I can actually tell that this stuff that I have this heat wrap on, this side I don't. Even though this is the cooler side, it's still hot. But this right here, back here, and on the other side, on these naked pieces, that is hot. That's hot aluminum, and I can actually put my hand on. So this is doing its job. This is, nope, not hot. This is where the water is coming to. So this is the hot, or not. Well, technically this is just a dump reservoir anyway. So it is ambient. So as you can see, I mean, this stuff is getting hot. I only have the engine cover off to show you this. I mean, the engine lid. Usually have it on right now. I know that it's hot, so I don't want everything to cook in the sun. But I was asked about the intake temps, and they are getting up there. So I am, as of right now, I have lowered the boost on the car, even though I don't drive it full throttle when I do, or like, you know, just full tilt. I've lowered it considerably. It's now like 8 pounds, 9 pounds, and I have the overboost protection at like 10 pounds. I hardly love it. I actually had a long video, a few of them actually, that showed in-car, you know, like engine sounds, and so you can hear the creaks and all that stuff inside the car, and I was talking a bit. All that stuff, you couldn't even make out a word. The car vibrates so much that even if I use the video stabilization, it just wasn't doing it. You could hear it, but you know, I don't want to voice over that stuff. I kind of want everybody to hear the motor. I will have another one when it cools off, maybe at nighttime or when it gets to dusk. About like maybe stick it on the back window, looking down so you can see the motor when it's running as I drive it. But other than that, I kind of got screwed over by my phone and my other cameras. But I don't know how that stuff just disappeared on me, but I had a few driving videos, like I said, and the install video for that alternator tensioner, and a few other things that I wanted to cover. All that stuff is gone. I have no idea where it went. So I'll be making another video here soon on the 91NA. I think so. I can't get started on my buddy's car because, as you can see, there's not a lot of space right now. I'm having a shed being built, going to be installed in my backyard in order to get rid of all this crap. So that I can start with the car, and then I can get boogie down. But until then, I'm gonna actually start on this car. I have its new shocks here. I've had them for months now. Brand new. It needs new shocks because they're blown. The car is just hitting the ground right now. If I drive it, it constantly scrapes. So I'll cover that in a video. It's super easy, but I'll cover it anyway. So hopefully I can get you guys another video with some better content, and hopefully with the next one will be the install of this, or maybe a drive in this car. So until then, guys, take it easy. Peace.